Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And today, whenever you see this, I would like to offer the elemental energy reading for the month of July 2024 for the element of water. Water covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. If you are interested as to why I read for the elements instead of the zodiac, there's a video I made linked in the description down below. You can check that out. Also, if you don't know what your water or your elemental alignment is outside of your zodiac sign, there is a link to a natal chart website. It's not really that expensive. It's pretty affordable, really. And they send you your natal chart with all the houses and planets and all that fun stuff. And then they send a 10 to 20 page detailed description of what all that means. It's not super personal, but in a lot of ways it is very personal, the detail that's in there. And it's not a sponsored link or anything like that. It's more just so you have an idea of where to go to find some of this information if you're interested in it. And these messages are timeless, so even if you hear this after July, there's still maybe something in there for you. And this is not like advice or life coaching or anything like that. It's for entertainment, but you can use it to maybe get a little insight into something in your life that you might need some help with, or maybe a little bit of advice for. So with that being said, we'll hop into the water reading, starting with our I-Ching, and everything I'm using description-wise, I-Ching books and Oracle and Tarot cards are linked in the description below if you want to check those out. So, your I-Ching hexagram I cast before this video here is number 16 for water, so it's this guy here, and it is Repose. Repose profits those engaged in building up the country and sending forth the armies. So, this is one of those things where you have to understand there's times when it's best to be quiet, because in quietness and planning, and it's confidence, so it's not like you have to be out there, I'm gonna be boisterous and I'm going to tell you how it is. Calm and quietness. When you are confident in what you're doing, people flock to that, and that's what's coming forward here. They talk about, according to the law of righteousness, begets repose, calm confidence, stems from righteous action. So this is that being moral, being ethical, being honest and upfront, being thorough in your work. If you agree to do something, you do it, and being quiet. It doesn't mean you have to go brag about everything. It's simply doing the work and accepting what comes. That's huge for everybody, and water especially. As water tends to work from their emotions, this is a way to kind of keep those in check. Your ego doesn't get involved when you're just quietly doing the job and someone's like, oh, awesome, here's a bonus, or here's a, prize, or fill in the blank. And you accept it quietly because you have earned that, and it's their gratitude is what's they're offering. So, with that, we'll get started with our lines. Our foundational line here: the crowing of the rooster bespeaks repose, an evil omen. And so, when you do everything from the point of, I'm going to do this, I'm planning on this, I'm going to put all my efforts and energy into it, you're going to wear yourself out. And that's that crowing of the rooster bespeaks repose, an evil omen. In other words, you don't want to just pour everything into whatever project you're working on, because you're going to lose yourself. Whether it's a job, I'm guilty of that myself personally, whether it is a social event, whether it's an art form that you're working on, if being dedicated is great, but knowing how to keep a balance is more important. And this is saying that if you pour too much into it, there's going to come a time when the hens come home to roost type of energy is what's coming up here. So stay focused and work hard, but know that there's a time for quietness as well. So our second line here is unmoved and as a rock before the end of the day, righteous persistence brings good fortune. Don't let others sway you from your course. The unmoved rock, before the end of the day, righteousness brings good fortune. You know what you're doing. You know what your goals are. You have this big, greater plan. As long as you are staying focused on the end game, which is that unmoved rock. That's those dreams. That's the big picture stuff. That's your vision board stuff. You're not worried about the next steps. You're staying focused on big picture here. When you do that and you have the righteous persistence, the moral, the ethical, the logical, the proper, however that works out for you, day to day, step by step, but holding a balance as well, it doesn't really matter what's going on around you. You're going to be able to continue on. So our third place line, to gaze reposefully brings regret. Tardy action brings regret. So there's basically, you don't want to be in a situation where you're just gazing at your goal and not really doing anything. But then there's also tardy action. So you've been lazy, you've procrastinated, and that next step was yesterday. This is that stay steady, keep going forward. It doesn't mean you have to, plow ahead and wear yourself out, but don't get so relaxed in what you're doing that you forget to, do the task. So our fourth place line, which is a nice solid bar here, from repose, great results occur, harbor no doubt. Why should it be harmful to befriend this official? And when they're talking about like an official, they're usually talking about someone who is in a superior position to where you're at. So if you're wanting to open a business, finding someone who's done a business opening, it doesn't have to be the same kind, but something on a similar platform. So if it's a mom and pop, physical storefront, if you have someone who knows how to do that, finding out, maybe getting a little advice and tips so you can avoid some hiccups along the way. But you also, if you're doing something online, just talking to people who have already done that and getting the tips and advice to move forward. Always, put it through a filter of, is this viable for what I'm doing? But that's what it's saying is from repose, that quiet confidence, great results occur, harbor no doubts. So don't question everything, but be prudent in what people are saying. And why should it be harmful to befriend this official? There's not harm in gaining knowledge from those who've done it before you. It doesn't matter if they're older or younger, that's irrelevant. But have they done it before you? Are they successful in what they're doing? How can you learn from that? So, our fifth place line is, where to go? Illness is presaged, but will not last long or cause death. Usually when you're having illness, especially when you're coming up in oracle stuff, it's because you've been wanting to do the right thing, you've been pushing super, super hard, and you've been staying so focused, you lose your balance. Whether that is your sleep-rest cycle, that is your diet, it's your exercise, it could be how you're managing stress. I feel like I'm talking to myself here. But these are things that you can be made aware of as you go along. And usually, not always, but usually when you're plugging along and you're working on a project and all of a sudden you come down with something minor and you end up having to, take the day off or whatever, it's because your body's been giving you warning signs ahead of this, like slow down, things are coming, what are you doing? And if you're not paying attention, it can kick you in the rear end. So pay attention to those warning signs. Our capstone is Madcap Repose. Fortunately, a change takes place, no blame involved. I'm not sure what madcap is, so let's take a peek here at their footnotes. Madcap repose implies being tardy to the point of extreme rashness in the face of approaching danger or a need to act. So, this is why you don't want to delay. You're working on projects, stay steady and keep focusing. Procrastination this month of July, water, is going to lead to the end of the month being a big rush, and you're not going to have foul things happen, but your stress level is going to be unnecessarily high. So keep plodding along, even if it feels like you're not making big progress. It's not the point. Are you taking the next steps? That's the important aspect. So now we'll hop over to our tarot. Not sure what my problem is today. I read for the for each week, sorry. And there's approximately 4.5 weeks in July, so we'll go ahead and read for 5 weeks, give you a little bonus time there. For each week, I read a guide or guardian, a message from source, and a lesson or challenge from the tarot. Now, the guide or guardian can either guide you through the week or guard you from any unpleasantness that may pop up. The message from source is a positive affirmation, a supporting message giving you the encouragement that you may need for that week. And your lesson or challenge from the tarot is a lesson to work on or a challenge that might be coming in that you were unaware of. And you can, I'm reading first week, second week, third week, but if it happens to fall in a different pattern for you, then that's how it falls, because source does its own thing when we're not paying attention. So, and that's a good thing, totally good thing. And I read intuitively, so I'll read the words on the card, and then whatever my guides bring in, we'll go from there. Your first week's guide or guardian is the goddess Tara in Tibetan quartz, her eyes ever open. Get that up there. I acknowledge that my inner light is growing stronger, shining brighter, and becoming more visible. I relax in the understanding that the brighter the light, the more powerful the spiritual protection I generate for myself and all beings. I shine fearless and true with respectful boundaries that honor the need for all beings to choose their own path. I attract and emanate a high level of spiritual guidance, wisdom, and protection for all. So, when you have the goddess Tara and Tibetan quartz, which I've only seen in pictures, I really would like to get a piece one of these days. But what we're talking about here is knowing who you are. When it says her eye is ever open, it's that higher frequency, that higher self is always observing. And are you doing things that are honorable? Are you doing the things that are correct? This week is kind of a check-in. Check in on yourself. Are you working on the things you're supposed to be working on? Are you living as an example to others? Because this, like it says on the card here, I shine fearless and true with respectful boundaries that honor the need for everyone to choose their own path. When you are living an example, they can see the example, they as in anyone around you, and they can choose to continue in their path, whether it's good or bad. That's not your place to decide, but they can observe you and realize they're onto something. What can I do to emulate the water? How can I better myself? These people may come and talk to you, it happens, or they might just be quiet observers, because there's times your biggest influence on somebody you'll never know about. It'll be something that you said offhandedly to a checker at the grocery store. Something that you say, a compliment to the person changing the oil on your vehicle. You may not have any idea how important those little gems are to the other person. You may not realize that that may change the course of that person's life. That sounds grandiose. It is actually true. It does happen. So pay attention and be ethical, especially this first week, and check in on yourself. Am I living the life that I want to live? Am I being the person that I want to be? So that's the message coming in from your guide or guardian. Your message from source is the ripple effect. Part of something bigger, details are taken care of. The pebble in the pond. When you drop a pebble into the pond, it ripples out. When you do stuff beneficial, when you're living the example of a positive person, those energies ripple out from you. The changes that you make, no one else, you may never be aware of, but everyone else is aware of them. And no one else can live and give the gifts that you do. And that's the key aspect of this ripple effect energy is do the right things for the right reasons, because you never know whose life you're going to impact in a very positive way. So, your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Two of Fire. You've come into your own, new partnerships or contracts continuing to move forward. So this is a lesson and a reminder. Things are changed. You've changed a lot, Water. In the last little while, there's been some growth periods. There's been some not so pleasant periods. But this is saying you've come into your own. You understand yourself better now than you did last month. And even if it's only this much better, you still understand yourself better. And they're also talking about new partnerships. This is a time for collaboration. Doesn't mean go out and like sign a contract and sign someone into your life. But this is like what says in the I-Ching, befriending the official, learning from someone who's been there, done that. This is that type of energy. So this first week you're checking in on yourself. How can you live in a better, more positive way? Even if you're already living a great way, there always is things you can tweak to make it just a little bit better. And that's not a call out to anybody, but looking in the mirror, if we're going to be honest. But that's the energy that's coming up. Those little moments that you do ripple out, and that's where this energy of you're doing the right thing, keep moving forward with the same energy or an improved energy. And again, it doesn't have to be changing the world. A little change can change the world for someone else. It doesn't have to be your world you're changing, as long as you're continuing to move forward. So your second week's guide or guardian is the goddess Matangi and Heliotrope. And we have already, there is value. So this is saying that you already are set up for value. I acknowledge how far I have come and the immense inner value derived from my journey thus far. I choose to complete the tasks that resonate with my heart, seeing them through until they are shining with divine brilliance and beauty. I recognize the value of my past efforts and experience. I balance passionate, purposeful devotion to my destiny with the contentment and gratitude for all that is in this moment. So the first week was checking in, making sure everything's doing all right, understanding that there's times to connect with people, to learn and grow from them. In this week, though, you understand you've already done a lot of the work. Now it's just continuing the process. It's not so much there's extra work to do. Even the I-Ching says it's that calm confidence, that righteous persistence. Just keep going, doing the right thing, being an ethical, moral, however that manifests for you. Because the second week is all about understanding that you've already grown a lot more than you may realize. And this is the week to be like, oh, that's how that came through. I get it now. So this is kind of the first week was a check-in. This one is a realization. Your message from source is the wishing well, the unexpected gifts, kindness, and karmic jewels. The wishing well, you cast your coin, you make your wish as the water splashes. So you've cast your wishes. You've set your goals. You're starting to see the results. Big, little, doesn't matter. You're starting to see the results. In the second week, you're coming to the understanding that your goal may have been a physical goal, but you're starting to come into a harmonious, energetic alignment with it, which is allowing doors to open. It's allowing the right people to step forward. It's allowing the right experiences to be had to lead you closer to that goal. So the second week's energy is really powerful in the fact that you are starting to understand everything that you've been doing for the last, they're saying 6 months or so, has starting to come to a point of understanding and fruition. May not be full fruition, but it's coming to those points. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the 10 of Water. A contented and rewarding family life. Your emotional and material needs are met. Trustworthy relationships. Don't forget your family, your friends, those closest to you, those who supported you as you are growing on this journey. Sometimes that support might feel a little harsh, but this journey has been so important to you, and it's because of its value to you, it has bled over to be important to other people. So you've had those people who've held you accountable at times, and you might be a little annoyed with them in the moment, but later on down the road, you're like, okay, they had a point. And this 10 of Water is saying this is those times to be grateful for those who've been around and supported you. And it doesn't mean you have to, say thank you to everyone and buy them all, flowers or whatever. But just be appreciative energetically and say thank you when they do stuff, because those things matter. You matter to yourself and to them, and their way of doing it is by showing gratitude, or, sometimes kicking you in their end, but they're doing it for the right reasons. And so the 10 of Water is saying it's time to really appreciate the people who have been closest to you and helping you along the journey. So your third week's guide or guardian is the Ascended Master Lady Nada and Rhodochrosite. I'm probably not saying that word right. I don't matter how many times I look it up, I never say it right. But we have sensitivity. My devoted heart is a willing, conscious, clear channel for spiritual grace. My growing sensitivity empowers me to experience the loving presence of the divine, to become a living light with tremendous compassion. My sensitivity increases in perfect harmony with my ability to process subtle energies and generate a protective field of spiritual light around me. I claim the space that I need to process my experience and thrive. I trust what I sense and respond with wisdom. It is safe and wild and startling and beautiful to be a sensitive soul with a higher awareness. So, this third week, the first week was checking in, the second week was understanding those aha moments, the realization points. This third week, water, you're very sensitive, you're very tied into your emotions, and I don't care if you're Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, you live and experience life from a dominant point of your emotional state. So if you're having a rough day, it doesn't matter if the flowers are blooming and the birds are singing. The flowers have allergies and the birds are being noisy. Make them go away, because it's an emotional response. And water tends to live there. Doesn't mean you can't wander out of it. Water can go anywhere. But you live in that type of response. It could be a gray, miserable, cloudy, rainy, windy day, but you got up and your mood, your energy, your emotions are high flying. You're having a great day. Ooh, look at all the blues tied in with the grays. Doesn't the rain feel great? The smell of the grass when it's raining is so nice. Everything is dependent on your emotions, especially for water signs. And with this week, your sensitivities at times, others may see them as a curse. Others may see them as, oh, here they go again. But water, you, being a sensitive individual, you experience life in a lot of ways a lot more fully than some of the other signs. Does that mean you're better than others? No, because they experience them in different ways too. But when it comes from the emotional state, you have the sensitivity to understand how those little words, how those minor movements occur. The pebble in the pond, you see the pebble, those nice things. You can experience and understand the ripples that come out from that. So this third week, your guide and guardian is coming in to say, now that you've checked in, you're more aware and you're understanding yourself better. This third week is, now how can you use that to improve your own state, but also how can you use that to help others? And it could be something as simple as you send up a little prayer, you light a candle. You had a coworker at work that was having a rough day. They came to you and they kind of vented a little bit and you didn't have any idea how to help them. But you're going to go home and you're going to light a candle. You're going to step away after the communication. You're going to step into the restroom and just say a quick prayer. Those things are the sensitivities, the empathy that you feel for other people. And that has a great significance. Empaths and healers, emotional people who can work through their healing, they know more about the suffering, and that allows them to help understand and grow through the pain. So, your message from Source is the water carrier. What really matters? Reflect, reprioritize. Water, you carry the emotions of the world, whether you like it or not, you do. When you carry that, it shows you what really matters, the important things, the friendship, the compassion, the supporting others. Now, there's a limit to supporting people. If you're there just continually flopping over, being like, oh, I can't do this, poor me, there comes a point when you have to walk away and let them fall. And that's that reflecting and reprioritizing. You help the people who need the help, not want the help. If they're asking for it and they're begging for it and they're whining about it, generally those people don't really need the help, they just don't want to do the work. So you're the one who carries the emotions of the elements, knowing when to step in, when to step back, how to help. Sometimes it's a guiding word. This is the message from Source. You have this ability, and as you've went through this month so far, you've checked in with yourself, you've made sure everything was good, you're coming to realizations of how you've changed and how you've grown. This week is, now that you know that, or coming to a realization of that, how can you use that to help benefit those around you? As it said with the card, the whole entire planet and all beings involved. This is that week to kind of, oh, that's how I can use that. So your lesson or challenge, this sounds like a lesson to me, is number 11 in the major arcana. It is the strength card with Archangel Ariel, and it is great inner strength, releasing harsh judgments, forgiveness, and compassion. You have the strength, being born under the water signs, to carry the burden that you carry. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but this card is saying, you know that you're capable, and if you need to step away, you have the strength of will and the strength of mind to say, this is bigger than something I can handle right now, I'm stepping back. And if it's something that you can't handle, you're going to be able to bear the burden, quote unquote, of dealing with that. And doesn't mean it's going to have to be rough or miserable, but sometimes emotions can be a little bit much. And if someone is out of control with their emotions because of something happening in their life, the examples they're giving me is like a divorce, an injury in the family, things like that. That can cause a lot of emotional charge with a person. Water, you understand it in a different way, and that allows you to be able to see and experience out here. Don't bring that in. And that can help you work with people, but it takes a lot of strength and resilience to do it, and you've got it. This week, this third week is saying, understand that what your gifts are, but don't forget you have the strength to hold it at bay and say, no, we're not doing that. So it's a good balance card for you. Your fourth week's guide or guardian is the Ascended Master Yogananda and Rhodonite, Empowered Service. I step into my rightful spiritual place with dignity, reverence, and grace. My higher purpose is empowered by the divine. My connection to the light is strong, unwavering, and enduring, so much so that my trust in its power and presence is unconditional. I accept the invitation from the universe to step up to a new level of expression and fulfillment of my higher purpose. I open my heart to the divine harvest of blessings pouring into my soul from all corners. I recognize the readiness within my own soul. You've went through this month kind of checking in, understanding yourself better, starting to understand how your gifts, as at times burdensome they may feel, how they can help others and work with others. This fourth week, you're working with the Ascended Master Yogananda and Rhodonite, because this is putting pedal to the metal, so to speak. The third week was knowing how your gifts can impact the world. This fourth week is with prudence and righteous persistence and being moral and ethical, knowing how to step those talents up and use them, whether it's art, whether it's an energetic practice, whether it's teaching, because that's also a skill, not everyone has it. Those are all things that you can do to step into your presence. So this fourth week is where you're starting to test the waters a little bit. You've learned the things, and now it's time to kind of see how it works out. Again, it doesn't have to be major, it can be one little act, and that sometimes is enough to be like, okay, now I'm starting to understand this better. Your message from Source is the waterfall. Inner power, unbridled confidence, claiming your place. When you do those little things, they add up, and this week you're starting the process. And who knows, one little thing that you do may trigger a waterfall that can change your life, someone else's life for the better. But they're saying this particular instance, it's going to be something that you are completely aware of. So the change, those little drops that you're doing, those little steps of understanding your gifts better and sharing them, this week is going to show a waterfall effect where that one little thing is going to increase exponentially. So, and that may manifest different for every person, so that's how that works. Your lesson or challenge from the tarot is number 1, the Magician with Archangel Raziel. So when we're talking the major arcana, these transcend the weeks. These are messages that are beyond just a 1-week thing, because they're life lesson cards. You are ready. You have the resources or abilities to manifest. Life is magical. The Magician comes forward to say, you have the skills. In the traditional tarot, there's an athame, or a sword, there's a wand, there is a goblet or a chalice, and there's a pentacle. Above his head, there is the symbol of eternity, which is actually on this card, if you can see it right there. It's a little figure 8 on its side. And what that means is you've gained the skills. You understand earth, air, fire, water. That's the 4 elements. And that's the 4 weapons of most magical circles. And so you've gained knowledge. You now understand your skills and abilities. The magician is saying, now it's time to put everything to practice. You don't gain knowledge and be like, I know it all, I understand. No, you don't. You know how to deal with it. You know the skills to work through it. When you gain that knowledge of the magician, you understand yourself. You understand more about your higher self. You understand your shadow. You don't know everything about it. You understand the concept of the shadow. And you understand how the 3 aspects of you reflect in the faces of everyone that you meet. Those are the tools that are coming into play with the Magician's card. So this week, you're starting to expand a little bit. You're stepping maybe outside your comfort zone by, using your spiritual gifts. And when that comes up, it's because the Magician card, which is a huge lesson whenever it shows up. I mean, all the major arcanas are, but this one's unique to me anyway. That you have the gifts, skills, and talents to do this. Are you willing to use them? So, our last week's guide or guardian is the Archangel Raphael and Malachite. Malachite is such a beautiful stone. Grace for the grand gesture. I am open to the empowerment of spirit that provides me with the wisdom, courage, and consciousness to recognize the actions required to honor my soul. With boldness and confidence, I act on my intuitive knowledge. I am connected and surrendered to the highest guidance always available to me. I take steps with faith in the wisdom that guides and inspires my actions. I trust in the higher timing of my every leap of faith. Even the smallest step taken in trust demonstrates confidence in my journey and the loving guidance of the universe, and thus attracts all spiritual blessings. This month has been a powerful month. This is what the cards are showing here. For actually every sign has had some powerful readings so far. Water, you're the end of the zodiac cycle, and grace for the grand gesture is a powerful way to wrap up the month. Everything is as it always is, but it's becoming at a higher frequency. This energy coming in this week is saying, as you have progressed through this last year and through the last month of June into July, you've worked through a lot. You have grown significantly. And what this card is saying, now you understand more of who you are. You understand how you're connected. You're starting to come into a realization of how your movements within this world reflect off of others. Can be very life-changing. And this is, why you want to do in the karma and the Wiccan read, what you send out comes back to you. 3 times 3, 7 times 7, 10 times 10, however it meant, whatever version you want to read. Even in the Bible, do unto others. It's all coming to realization of that means everything. And harm ye none applies to yourself as well. If you're harming yourself, that's going to be reflected back in others. So you want to make sure that when you're not harming other people, you got to remember that, this is a people. You have to take care of yourself too. And that's the kind of the energy that's coming forward is you've done a lot of growth. You've made the changes, subtle or not, and you've shifted into these higher frequencies, and now it's time to really start to live life at its fullest. Your message from Source is stagnant waters, feeling stuck, calling for shifts, flow, and change. Water, when you get stuck, things just aren't great. This last week, there's a lot of movement potential for you. Malachite and the Archangel Raphael is saying there's a lot of grand things that are coming into alignment for you. Are you going to, as the I-Ching talks about, be a little procrastinator and not take the chances? Or are you going to take the leap and go and do the things and move forward with the life that you've been dreaming of, that you've been asking for, that is being offered to you in this moment? So, your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Queen of Earth, thoughtful, creative, warm, and sensible. Make time for those around you, take a sensible approach, deal with challenges in a kind and understanding manner. The ultimate reminder for the month. As you go through life, no matter what challenges, no matter what headaches, no matter what waves of chaos may be coming towards you, how you respond to those waves of chaos is what is going to ripple out. Whether it is a minor slap of a verbal frustration from somebody, or it's a total breakdown that may occur. How you respond and where your faith stands is a lot of how things are going to move forward. This month is a really good month to check in on your dreams, your goals, your ambitions, those things that you're wanting to manifest, and then check in with yourself and be like, where am I at? Are there things that I need to improve? Are there things I need to change? Do I need to take a break and kind of breathe and recover? Overall, the month is looking really good for water. Just make sure to take care of yourself and find your balance. So with that, I will let you guys go. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and in the comments down below, let me know your thoughts, feelings, opinions, and I will see you in the next video.